is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Friday night. It is episode 158 of the Throwdown, and I'm your host, Matt. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. And tonight we are throwing down with someone from my original home state of Texas. A guy who is setting the scene out there on fire. A guy who my good friend Chris Page with CCP Podcasting brought to my attention. He is 1/3 of Obsidian, the one and only Mr. Chris Chaos. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I can't complain. There is nothing in life that's really worth complaining about right now, so that's a good thing.
Things like that I love to hear. I can say the same myself.
And for those of you that are watching this live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we're going to go ahead and start, Chris, with the first and the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
So I personally have been wrestling for about 2 years and been training for about 2.5 years.
Gotcha. So who actually has trained you?
So one of the Texas pillars back in the day, his name is Houston Carson, and he's based out of Bryan, Texas, just like I am. And he was on shows like MWA, traveling all over the United States and really tearing up Texas before he had something happen where he had to stop wrestling. But as soon as he stopped wrestling, he opened up a place called the Lion's Den, and the rest is history.
Nice. Yeah, as far as my Texas connections go, I was born in San Angelo out in West Texas, and then lived for my first 6 years for the most part in San Antonio. And then my dad actually got out of the Air Force and we moved to Florida. And you know, I'm sad to say this, but I have not been back to Texas since I left when I was 6. I need to get back out there and see some things now that I'm old enough to appreciate them.
You gotta come back.
But it's an amazing state. I know that much, and I've got very good early childhood memories. So in terms of the early portions of your training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
So growing up, I wasn't much of a theater kid, nor was I really any good at acting. I could barely tell a lie, a believable one at that. So I think the hardest part for me was definitely the mic work and developing the character. Those two aspects for me just really threw me for a loop. Like, I can get the wrestling portion down and do all the agility and have good cardio because I come from an athletic background, but to put a mic in front of me, and I was struggling.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that you did have an athletic background prior to professional wrestling. What type of sports were you involved in?
Oh, football. All the way
Gotcha.
up to graduating high school, my biggest thing was football. If I didn't have a football in my hand and have cleats on my feet, I honestly did not feel like I was in the right place, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, my son, who is a junior in high school, is actually a lacrosse player.
Oh, really?
And they've got several lacrosse gets played in the spring, and so a lot of the football players during the spring that they'll end up playing lacrosse. And I actually had a guy on the show a while back who was a football and lacrosse player when he was in high school. And he said, when the lacrosse team tried to get him to play, they said it's just like football but with sticks. And he was like, oh, he said football, but I get to beat people with a stick. He said that's even better.
Does it get any better than that?
Not at all, man. So so I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh, yeah.
So, what was your earliest wrestling related memory?
All right. So I have two. And the first one is me flipping through channels to figure out what I could watch, whether that was good, bad, educating, not very educating, sports related. I don't know. I was just 9 years old and I was flipping through television, just trying to figure out what can I find to watch for tonight. And I remember stopping on this one channel, seeing what in the world are these two guys doing. And I remember my first match that I had ever watched was a match between R-Truth and John Morrison. You can see from the
Nice.
hair where R-Truth came into play. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, no. Also known as Ron Killings. Yeah, no, he's always
Yes.
been one of those guys where I just watch him and I go, holy moly. He immediately caught my attention. And we all know how John Morrison looked. The
Oh
studded
yeah.
up guy with the bedazzled, crazy looking gear. And it's just something about that mix right there just hooked me from the instant that I laid my eyes on it. And I just knew this is cool. I want to get more into this. And ever since then, it's been history.
Absolutely. So, was there a point in your life? Was there a distinct moment where your fandom turned and you started to think, I think I could actually do this? Was there a particular moment that you remember?
And this is where my tag partner, also the second member of Obsidian, Trent Mercer, comes into play. Because I've always watched it and I've always thought, man, that's cool. I wonder how I could get into that. And he actually started wrestling back. Don't quote me on this. You may have to ask him and book him one day to get the actual answer. But if I'm not mistaken, he started wrestling his junior year of high school, like for professional wrestling here at the Lions Gym here in Bryan, Texas. And I remember one day it was like a year after we graduated, I'm working, doing school, trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Because to be honest, I was just kind of bored. I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, it's school, yeah, it's important. I'm gonna do that regardless. But it's like, what can I do to make my life more spicy? And it's like almost is like just the turn of fate. He texted me, was like, hey brother, remember we were watching wrestling and you're looking at highlight clips and we were talking about it in the mornings before high school. We have a school here that you know about. Are you willing to participate? And are you willing to take this seriously? And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, let's do it. Come on. Sign me up. Where do I go?
Nice.
And like the
Love
same
it.
week, I took my first step into the den and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm at home, you know?
Absolutely. And and it's cool to have a moment like that where you're in some place and you just know that it's the place for you.
Yeah. Such a good
But
feeling.
yeah, so UK Paul over on Twitch
Hi, Paul.
says that you're his wrestling Jeopardy partner.
Well, like he's my wrestling Jeopardy partner. That guy, that is a brilliant mind right there. My goodness. Woo.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you know, I mean, obviously, I know that the physical side of this is quite important, and that you guys definitely spend a good amount of time in the gym. So, what exercise in particular do you feel is most pertinent to keeping Chris Chaos chaotic?
Well, honestly, I think all the exercises are important, but if we're getting real specific here and real technical,
Yeah, yeah,
anything that has to do with probably squats or maybe even a military press, something that really gets you good base and foundation for basically all lifting wrestling moves into play. Because you can't lift a guy if you have weak legs. You can't lift a guy if you don't have strong shoulders to get him up for like a military press. So I think, sorry, that's not really answering the question 100% correctly, but I think those two right there are very particular, important parts. And of course, you have dumbbell curls. You know, you gotta
oh yeah.
you get those biceps right too.
Mm-hmm. And, piggybacking onto that question, what exercise do you know is a necessity, but you dread doing?
Squats.
Squats.
Squats. Oh my goodness, leg day. As for any type of guy that likes to go to the gym, we all know leg day is, unless you're a little crazy, leg day isn't your favorite day because it takes a lot out of you.
Exactly.
And the next day,
Exactly.
especially when you have a booking, let's say you were to do leg day on a Friday or a Saturday, which is most feasible because you have to work throughout the week. Oh my gosh, that match the next day, you have to really warm those legs up. You can't go in cold turkey. You may pull a cramp.
Exactly. So, looking at the Instagram chat right now, we've got Axel Hendricks, we've got Smart Fit Method Lacosta, we've got Mary Luce, and we have Trent Mercer in
Trent.
the Instagram chat. So we're definitely getting some people showing up, which is definitely a good thing. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
So as you can tell with the big glowing PC in the background, I'm really big in anything that has to do with like computer technical whiz. Like specifically, I love doing graphic design. I love computer engineering. Like it's like a big old Lego piece right here. You just have to put together, and something about that is just so addicting to me. Like doing research in the most latest tech and stuff like that. And of course, I'm a big gamer. I have just as much time as I used to, but anytime I get a chance to just sit down and pick up a game, pick up a controller, mouse and keyboard, I will take it. It distresses me.
Oh, for sure, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I was noticing the computer sitting back there, and interestingly enough, my son actually built his own computer, and it's got the clear case like that with the lights and everything,
Yeah.
and yeah, he and a couple of buddies of his spent the better part of a night on the phone with his buddy who had built a couple, was walking him through it
Oh
over
my
the phone.
goodness.
But
My first
he got it done, man, and it works like a charm.
Oh my!
So
My first time building this thing was actually the first computer that I put together all by myself, and that required a whole lot of YouTube and crossing the fingers. Because if you were to plug in the wrong thing at the wrong time and mess up your motherboard, well, that's not fun.
no, not at
No,
all,
that
not
is
at
not
all.
fun at all.
So, we're mostly a wrestling related show, but we also dabble a little bit into pop culture, and I'm always looking for recommendations. So, by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Well, I mean, I don't really watch too much of TV per se, mainstream TV anymore. I usually, if the TV's on, it's either on like some YouTube video or I'm studying for wrestling. Take this
Yeah.
real serious. But I do have a few music recommendations. Are you into rock by any chance?
Oh, most definitely.
Oh my goodness, man. I got to start you off with a couple of bands. This is one band who I just recently went and got to watch live called From Ashes to New. I
Oh,
don't think they
they
have
they are
you know
amazing.
about them? Oh
Oh
man, I
yeah.
don't think they have a singular song that is like has you going, I don't know about that. Every single one of their songs just has you headbanging, whether it's breaking your
Yeah.
neck banging or just like a little, okay.
Yeah. I discovered From Ashes to New through the Sirius Octane channel.
Really?
Once I heard a couple of their songs, man, I was hooked.
Can you recall
Absolutely.
what songs played, or?
Oh gosh, off the top of my head, I don't. But man, I completely love their stuff. And interestingly enough, something I'll recommend to you is a while back, I guess a couple of months ago now, I had a guest on the show. He's an indie wrestler in Florida, but he is also the drummer for a band called Set It Off.
Oh, we love
Um,
Set It Off around here.
yeah, Max Danziger, their drummer, is also an indie wrestler.
What?
Yeah, yeah, he trains at House of Champions in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, in Orlando, yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
did not know that. What? You would think that would
but
be
yeah,
something that I
man.
would know, huh?
But man, they so when I got started doing live streaming, the first 6 months or so, I was doing this kind of show, but I was talking to unsigned bands.
Yeah.
So music is my other main passion in life. I'm a hobbyist bass player.
Oh,
And so, I mean, the occasions where I get to talk to somebody that walks in both worlds is just really, really cool. And having Max on, and being able to talk wrestling and music with him was just amazing. So,
I bet that's such a different experience. I love watching
so,
like, oh, go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead.
Yeah, no. Recently, Houston Carson, my coach, but not even recently, it's about a year ago. But he really got me and Trent into live performances because he likes this. The way he sees it is that like if you can watch those guys up there on the stage do what they do and do what they love, and like especially right after that concert, it feeds you with energy that motivates you to do what you like to do and do what you love, which in our case would be weightlifting and wrestling on the weekends. Just really giving you that stage presence in the squared circle. And I just always thought that was such a beautiful way to look at it. And ever since then, it stuck with me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Outside of wrestling, that's a good one because everything in my life involves wrestling. uh, it's a very, I guess, biased answer because I'm also really, really big into basketball. But I mean, if we're picking the most obvious answer here, it has to be LeBron James, right? Because
Sure,
all about
yeah.
his backstory growing up. Was born with a single mother, which is close to my situation because my grandma raised me all by herself, and he turned that hardship and situation, him not even knowing where he's gonna sleep that singular night, into becoming one of the biggest college basketball players ever, or not college, my bad, high school basketball players ever to skip college, go straight to the NBA, and have an amazing 20 plus year career. It is such a beautiful sight to witness. And ever since I figured out his backstory, especially younger, reading books about him, seeing shows, seeing like little YouTube documentaries, I was like, oh, this guy is cool. I need to really follow in his footsteps and eventually hopefully become a billionaire myself one day when it comes to investing and stuff like that, just staying hungry and keeping that drive and passion.
Absolutely, man. So, got a question. Are you much of a coffee drinker?
No, but you give me an energy drink and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Gotcha. Reason I'm asking is the Throwdown has recently entered into a partnership of sorts, an affiliate partnership with a company called Blackout Coffee,
I think
and
I've heard.
I'm going to put on a little spot about Blackout and talk them up real quick, and then we'll get back to what we're doing here.
Let's do it.
Throwdown Nation. I am excited to announce our new partnership with Blackout Coffee. We've been looking for a while for a company to get into an affiliate partnership with, a company that makes a great product but also has similar values to those that we hold dear. And at the Throwdown, we also try to keep ourselves well caffeinated by any means necessary. And we recently ran across this tremendous company and found that Blackout Coffee really checks all the boxes. The coffee itself is produced in Florida, and it's typically roasted, packed, and shipped within 24 to 48 hours after an order is placed, so freshness is a priority. And here is the really cool part. If you like flavorful coffee from a top-notch company, along with the potential to help us here at the Throwdown to offset production costs, you can shop Blackout Coffee using the QR code on the screen, and we will get a small commission on anything you happen to buy. And they have whole bean coffee, ground coffee, instant coffee, and K-Cups available, along with a complete line of apparel and other merch for all of your coffee needs. And you can use the coupon code Throwdown20 to get 20% off of your first order. So, are you originally from Texas? Are you or you know, were you born elsewhere and ended up in Texas?
Yeah, no. So I've been in College Station basically my entire life, born and raised here. So yeah, I'm a Texas native at heart.
Nice, nice. So are you a Texas A&M fan?
Oh, of course.
You got to be out there.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course. It's like a cold out here.
yeah. So, what is your favorite thing about the College Station area?
I mean, really, what else is there other than A&M? But yeah, no. So yeah, I was enrolled at A&M during their team program, and I mean, it wasn't like on the main campus. It was definitely online classes and a few here and there on the actual campus. But my favorite part about College Station is just the university itself. It's like when you come into town, especially once you hit basically what we call downtown, which is like it's a main strip with a lot of businesses and food areas and stuff like that for you to see. You can always see the big old Kyle Field, which I'm sure you're well informed about, that big stadium in the middle of a college town in the middle of the country. So yeah, A&M
Oh
is
yeah,
definitely my favorite thing about College Station, because really there isn't much else to do here other than maybe wrestling.
gotcha. So, you had mentioned her earlier, and your face lit up when you mentioned her. So, what does your grandmother and your family think about all of this? What do they think about the fact that you are pursuing your wrestling dreams?
Oh, they love it. They're my biggest supports, like my biggest support cast. I remember at first they were like, I don't know. I don't want you to get injured. And I think I had to prove that I wasn't gonna, blow my knee out or anything, knock on wood. I would be safe in the ring and also be entertaining at the same time. And especially my aunt and my little cousin, who are both huge wrestling fans, are my
Mm-hmm.
biggest support cast. And I remember every show I have, they text me, "Hey, you did a great job tonight." And if they're not there, they're like, "We really hate that we missed it, but just know we're there in your heart." So,
Oh, that's awesome.
oh
And
yeah,
having that kind of a support system is just, it makes all the difference.
oh yeah, it really does.
So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually yourself turned up to 11. So tell us about in-ring Chris Chaos and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Yeah, so no, Chris Chaos, who is also known as Jester, really has a lot of like influences from my personal life, because I've always been a guy to be a little bit, I don't want to say wacko, but a little bit more on the I want to try to make you laugh and have a good time kind of side. I don't want to be the guy sitting somewhere just not saying anything or doing anything, because I just find that extremely dragging. I don't like that. And the Jester portion of it comes from one of my favorite DC characters, Harley Quinn. Not current
Oh yeah.
Harley Quinn, classic Harley Quinn. We all like that Harley Quinn. And that's especially with my gears coming up. That's what the designs are based out of, and my current gears kind of like showing contrast to that. But I just thought I was like, if I turn me up to 1,000 or to 11, as you said, really it would just be a guy in the ring who's there to show his athletic ability and show that he's a serious threat, but to also not be too serious, because I don't want to be the big macho man that's just going around going, I will beat up your favorite character. I want you to have fun when you see me wrestle. I want you to be engaged. And with a Harley Quinn jester aspect, it sets me apart because I really don't think I see many people out there calling themselves a jester. So I'm like, you know what? Boom, there you go. Combine those two, mesh them together, really work on it, turn myself up, and I feel like I have a recipe for some really good pie cooking up here, you know?
Absolutely. And UK Paul, I saw your question in the comment, and that's actually a question that we will get to later on. So I just didn't want you to think you were being ignored, because you're not. So tell us about Obsidian.
All right. Obsidian is Alliance Pride born and bred faction between me and Trent Mercer and a guy we like to call Devin DeVille, aka the Devil.
Nice.
So yeah, so we me and Trent, we've always been like close. Like me and him, we're brothers. We're brothers from another mother. Our family, I'm part of his family. He's part of my family. We like to wrestle. We travel lots of places here in Texas together, just trying to get our names out there. And we were needing Lions Pride needed a faction because their old faction got dispersed and guys went on and did their own thing. And Houston Carson was looking for a nice, young, fresh pair of guys who could start a new faction. And he already had Devin DeVille, who could be a good mic piece, which I'm not saying we can't talk because Trent, he's better than me at it. But I feel like all three of us can confidently get on the mic. But to have Devin DeVille just come out, you don't even have to know who he is. You just see him and you're like, ew, we do not like this guy. He has that type of aura where you just want to punch him in the face, especially when we're like a heel faction. Just having him as our third piece is like the beautiful cherry on top. That's something that people don't like to see, but something that we love to see because people hate it. And even as faces, you know, me and Trent, I feel like we just naturally had that face look to us. I'm not the meanest looking guy. I mean, I'm not too tall. I'm not too jacked. I'm just kind of in that fine in between. That the jack thing is going to change. You can see the muscle is going to come out. But even then, I feel like the face, I just don't have a mean face that quite yet. I'm working on it. I'm really working on it. But as of right now, I'm just such a glowing guy. So especially when we're trying to do face stuff, me and him are athletic. Me and him like to do little spots. We can really get the crowd to go jump out of their seats and go, whoa, did you see that? You know, it's like, so yeah, no, Obsidian really is a overall really, what's the word, all around fine-tuned, a well-oiled machine to where no matter where you throw us, we will fit in. And, you know, just something that we all like to do is like three brothers, just wrestling, working hard together to build each other up to be the biggest that we can all be.
Gotcha. So it's like Fatu says, you know, y'all get in where you fit in?
Pretty much, yeah.
So tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Tell us about the very first match you wrestled.
So the very first match that I wrestled here at Lions Pride was actually a 6-man tag between me, Rodzilla, Jack Calloway, Mia Friday, Haster, and a fine fellow I like to call Alligator. I love that name.
Nice.
But yeah, right? But yeah, no, so it was my first time being in front of an LPS crowd. And I remember Coach told me a few weeks beforehand, hey, man, I've really seen that you've been making some good progress, and I think it's time to reward that and put you in front of a crowd. And it was in the form of a 6-man tag, which is really easy on my part. I mean, it's only had to remember like what 10% of the match, but yeah, no, I go out there and got a good couple of shines in with Mia Friday, and Mia Friday is one of the bigger staples here in Texas, so that was really fun. And got to squabble a little bit with Alligator and Jack Calloway, so it was definitely a fun experience for me. It wasn't too hard, too difficult. It wasn't like a go out there and give me a 15-minute banger. It was go out there and remember what you need to remember and have fun with it. So
go out there and do your thing.
Yeah.
So, we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
Oh man, where do I even start? It's definitely going to be a tag team match. So this one's a little. It's not totally ordinary because it was a handicap match. And no, I wasn't the guy being handicapped. I was the guy helping whoop the butt. But so me and Trent Mercer went against a fella named Daniel O'Ryan, which he's been.
I've
heard
had
of him.
Danny O'Ryan on the show, actually.
Oh yeah, Danny's such a great
Yeah.
guy. I can't say enough.
Oh,
about
he
him.
is. Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah, but it was one of those matches where he really like no matter what kind of match it is, if he's in there, he's gonna test you. So I got to go and get thrown into the deep end with Danny O'Ryan and with the help of Trent, of course. And I feel like we just really we floated, and only did we float, we kind of flew a little bit, you know. So
Yeah.
and going into that, I was very nervous. So like coming out on the other end with everybody okay, everybody happy, it was really good feeling. But yeah, no, that match was definitely one of those where you just have to really focus in and remember the spots and remember the spots. You also have to work your tag team partner, the crowd. You can't get so locked in that you're just forgetting about everybody else. So that was a really fun and unique experience for me that really tested me and see where I was at. And I would like to say that I floated. So
That's awesome. So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've developed some of these, and it seems like everybody has them. So, what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
oh man. Is this a pet peeve like that I do or a pet peeve like somebody else would do?
Either, but
Either
probably more what
towards the
somebody else does.
okay. And my biggest thing with somebody else, which also applies to me, is forgetting spots. Oh my goodness. It's like, especially when I'm the green guy in a match. So it's kind of like sometimes you would expect me to forget the spots, but it's like when somebody else forgets the spots, I'm like, oh, I had to try to take charge and like get them in a hold and hey man, where are we at? Like what's going on, you know? And it's just one of those. It's like just my young mind is still trying to wrap around like how to work around that whole section of like you need to improvise, and you know that's what makes WWE and AEW and like New Japan, all those guys, that's what makes them so great. Is one, if something does go a flop, they know how to fix it and make it so seamless that even us workers will be like, was that did they forget something or is that just I don't yeah, that was good,
Was
you
it
know.
supposed to be that way?
Yeah, but it's like it's so good that it makes you question it because I guarantee you, if you were to go to an indie show, you'd be like, "Oh, I know for a fact they forgot that." But the biggest workers know how to improvise and know how to make things transition seamlessly, even when they don't transition so seamlessly. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And
For sure.
that goes back to me as well because I hold myself up to such a high standard that even if I forget the smallest thing after the match, I'm like beating myself up and that's something I'm working on. But I'm like, how did I forget that? You know, that was you know, just one of those things that just really gets to me, whether it's me or somebody else. But that also
Gotcha.
ties back into being better at transitioning. So I always look at that as a learning opportunity, no matter when it happens.
For sure. So, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
Oh, I can't be both.
Well, I'm not saying that you would have to suck at the other, but if you could only be great in one of the
That
two
is
aspects.
such a good question. So I'm going based off of trends and how we're also trained. We're trained to be both. But the biggest thing is I feel like in order to be a great wrestler, you also have to be a great entertainer. And there's plenty of guys out there that can do all the coolest flips and the craziest stunts that you have ever seen. But at the end of the day, they're not going to make the most money. They're not going to get the best spot. And they're definitely not going to have the most amount of fans if they can't work on that mic and establish themselves as a character. So if
Yeah.
I were to be better at wrestling or mic work, I would definitely be mic work so I can get that little entertainment boost that completely
Mm-hmm.
elevate you above the others, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, speaking of all of that, I have really been enjoying the last 6 months to a year of Ricochet's work that he's doing in
Oh, don't get me
AEW
started. It's
right
so
now,
good.
because his mic work is finally getting to where he's really good on the mic now, whereas before, I mean, he was amazing in the ring, but I don't know if he was just never really given a cool character run to work with or what. But I feel like he has really put in the work on the mic these last few months, especially, and he's just amazing now.
Oh yeah, I
So
bet that comes down to a lot of factors behind the scenes. But yeah, no, regardless of
yeah,
that, in AEW, I've been loving his heel work because he's
oh yeah,
flourishing. People are understanding the
yeah,
character, and he's getting hated, and I love it.
yep, yep. So, do you have a preference yourself between working heel or babyface?
Babyface all day.
Yeah,
It's something so good about having that crowd start on your side, them seeing you vulnerable and kind of diving down a little bit, and you picking them right back up with you. It's just such a beautiful feeling to hear that little roller coaster ride that you can take the crowd through. Now, I'm not saying
oh
being a
yeah.
heel is not fun. I'll do either, and I also equally enjoy being a heel. But I feel like being a face gives you that little adrenaline boost that I really feed off of in the squared circle. You know.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that just really speaks to you, and it never really gets old when you go back and watch it again, and there's always some new little something you can pull from it. Do you have such a match?
Hit me with these hardies, man. But as of right now, as recently, like this over time changes as I develop and as I get
Of
better and
course.
better. But my favorite match would be Shawn Michaels, which I consider to be his last match, but technically his second to last match that he had ever. That was against Undertaker. That
Oh yeah.
was that entire match to me was just so beautiful, and the story leading up to it, the story afterwards was just so emotional. It took you literally on an emotional roller coaster. I absolutely loved it.
It's interesting. I have asked that question in the huge majority of these, and that by far is the most commonly cited match.
Mm.
Everybody loves HBK and Taker. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, HBK is like that's our coach's favorite wrestler, and of course, by that being his favorite wrestler, we started to pick up some tendencies too. Where we're going back and watching Shawn Michaels, and we're like, man, this guy was something special his
oh, for
entire
sure,
career.
for sure, and getting to do what he's doing now in NXT, and basically, being the mentor for all of those young up and comers, man. I mean, he is making such an amazing difference in the business.
Oh yeah,
So
that's why I would love to make it NXT and just pick his brain. Oh my goodness, there's so many questions I want to ask about wrestling.
no doubt, no doubt. And and I won't say if, I'll say when that opportunity comes, be a sponge.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm the biggest sponge you'll ever met.
So, piggybacking on the previous question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan?
That's a really good one. Oh, I've been watching so many recently. Let me think on that. Let me think on that. Let me think on that. I don't know if I can pick one. There's just of course, like going back and watching like the older The Rock and the Mick Foley's and the Macho Men, yeah, and of course, like it's all there's so many. Can I give you an era instead?
Sure, sure.
Especially like the Attitude Era, like going back and watching those guys cut promos is just something of a magnificent sight that I feel like we don't really get as much anymore. Of course, it's like some guys like LA Knight, Roman Reigns, the Seth Rollins who really just show out when it comes to mic skills. But like going back in time and just watching that era of promos, especially the backstage promos, was something that you can just really just, no matter how many times you watch it, just entertain yourself and just really enjoy and love and appreciate.
Gotcha. So, and this question, you can't you can't include yourself, but who are, in your opinion, at this very moment, who is the best male and best female wrestler in the world?
All right, female, I gotta say, Io Sky. Io Sky, ever since she was in Japan, I just really, really, really do enjoy watching her do everything that she does, because she's also good in the mic, whether it be English or not. It's just, every time she's on the mic, it's so captivating. And her in-ring stuff, don't even get me started, man. There's some stuff she does now that I'm just like, whoa, I'm doing that. So,
oh yeah,
Io Sky's always been really good, and that's followed by a close second. It was Stephanie McQuarrie, in my opinion. She's also really good, especially also her Japan in-ring work has been beautiful. But for male, that's a tough. There's so many good people.
I know. There is so much talent in the business right
I'm like,
now.
Should I be biased or should I be reasonable? But I'm gonna be honest. I think MJF for the last for like a few years now has been the best in-ring performer, whether he's been on the top of the brand or sinking down a little bit. It doesn't matter to me. Every time I watch his matches, I get so captivated, and sometimes I find myself going, I hate that guy, forgetting that, hey, this is wrestling, you're doing this. You should probably respect him, but I love MJF. Everything he does is just so freaking good, whether it's on a mic or in the ring. It's beautiful.
MJF is another one that kind of harkens back to what I was saying about Ricochet. Mm-hmm. When MJF came in at the beginning of AEW, I mean, he was amazing on the mic, and I mean, he wasn't bad in the ring, but I mean, like you said, these past few years he has put in the work on his in-ring product. And now, I mean, I would say he is equally good in the ring as he is on the mic. And if you can get to that point where both of the aspects are incredibly strong, you can virtually write your own ticket. And I think he's at that point. The guy is just unbelievable.
It's so good.
So, and this actually incorporates the question that UK Paul posted, and that is, this can be present day or past. Who would be some dream opponents for you? Who would Chris Chaos love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
Okay, well, I got to say the obvious answer that we're all thinking here. John Cena. Oh my goodness. I remember the first time he came, well, maybe it might have been the first time. The first time I got to see him live in College Station at Red Arena, he touched my hand. I swear I didn't wash my hands for till now. No, I'm joking. About 2 weeks. I didn't wash that hand for a whole 2 weeks. Now, mind you, I was like 5, so it's not completely nasty. I didn't know any better. But John Cena is definitely one of those guys where I just really wish that I was around where I could be able to wrestle him. And really, because I hear everybody that wrestles him, especially like the guys who are below, like the younger guys, he just elevates them. Like their minds, they go into the match thinking one way and they leave it thinking a whole nother thing. It's like he opens up a chapter of beautiful insights of like how wrestling should be done. And
absolutely,
second is Seth Rollins, whether we're talking Indies Rollins or WWE main event Rollins. Beast Slayer Rollins, it doesn't matter. Seth Rollins has always been that guy where I just watch him and I go, man, that guy, he has aura. Even when he was in the Shield, he was like, to me, he was a standout where he was like, whoa, that guy, something about that guy with the dyed hair, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think.
So relating to Rollins, are you more of a Seth Rollins guy or are you a Tyler Black guy?
Oh my goodness. If we're talking like entertainment wise, I would definitely go Tyler Black, because he did some crazy stuff on the indie. I remember that time he used one of the fans to do a backflip.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, like what? But yeah, no, we're talking like formal and like really trying to understand how wrestling should be. It's definitely Seth Rollins, but
Yeah.
you know, it goes either way. It's a toss up at this point, but I'm definitely, if I'm going to answer your questions, more of a Seth Rollins guy, because I feel like you can learn a lot more from that version of himself than you could his younger days, you know?
Right.
I'm trying to think of a good third, because there's just so many guys. Now we're tuning it back a little bit. It's a toss up, man. But I'm going to go ahead and say Randy Orton.
Oh yeah.
Randy Orton. This may be a little bit of a biased pick. I don't care. Randy has always been that guy, like the Viper.
Yeah.
Like you go back and watch any of his footage and his film, and you really see how simple he can keep these matches, but how entertaining he makes them, because he just really understands the whole fashion of professional wrestling and making sure to keep you engaged while not having to do crazy like 450 splashes or even like any type of splash. Really, I don't think I can't remember last time he went to the top rope, but but yeah, no, just Randy Orton's just always been one of those guys where I was little and I would be like, oh, I want to beat him up, or I'd be like, oh, I want to go have a tag team match with him. You know, it's been it's been an emotional roller coaster for that as well. But yeah, no, I love Randy Orton and everything he does.
Oh, for sure, man. I would love to eat an RKO.
Oh man. Oh man, just let me open my door just right now and just catch me, bro. Huh?
Yeah. So, what is your favorite move? What is something that you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
Okay, we're going to start with the not do. And it is
Okay.
any type of freaking leg drops. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time, you know, there's a secret behind a leg drop where you have to land on your hamstring and like curl your leg at the same time so that you're not actually killing or landing on anything bad. But the first time I did a leg drop, I landed flat legs, stiff butt, leaning it back a little bit. Boom. I feel like I still feel that in my spine. It was terrible. So anything that has to do with like butt bumps, I'm like extremely terrified of. I'm not saying I wouldn't do them, but I would kind of be like,
You would at least hesitate.
Yeah, I would definitely hesitate and be like, what else can we do to lead to that? But yeah, no, and something that I love doing is what I call the final cut. It's all over my page. Dustin Rhodes, I love. The first time I saw him do the final cut, I was like, holy moly, something about that just really piques. It scratches that part of my brain I didn't know could be scratched before. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, I have to try to adapt that because that's beautiful. And like I tell people when I hit the final cut, and I continue calling it the final cut, it's because it's a huge motivational move from Dustin Rhodes himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I was just wrestling a guy named Ben Parker out in Texas, and he's from Dustin's school. And he was like, what's some big moves you like to do? And I was like, I like to do the final cut. And he goes, I see what you did there. He was like, come on, you're going to hit me with my teacher's move? And I was like, I mean, you don't have to take it, but I mean, that's my motivational guy. It's just Austin's kind of a trick for me, so.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So, you know, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll go ahead and ask, what hurts right now?
What hurts? I don't know. I have weak wrists. I don't know what that's about. I need to go see a doctor, but really nothing else in my body really hurts like pain-wise other than maybe just being sore from working out, but I take a lot of recovery stuff for that, so it's not terrible. But if we're just being like borderline, what feels like an injury is my wrist. Ever since I started, I just had some like weak wrists where I have to wear wrist straps to make sure I don't overextend it. But anytime I go further than like, let's say right here, it's a sharp pain shoots through there, and it's not fun. I don't know what that's about.
No, yeah. So, over the course of your career so far, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Ooh. This goes back to my Green days. I remember one time, I don't want to throw names out there because I don't want anybody to think that like this person's unsafe, or I don't want them seeing like I'm unsafe. But let's just say I took a big choke slam from Anonymous. And this isn't even their fault. because the biggest thing when you're about to take a big bump like that is you need to exhale so that all the air leaves you so you can't get short of breath and to knock the wind out yourself. As we came up, strong base, I'm getting height. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be good. I inhale as we're going down. Boom! Couldn't breathe for what felt like 5 minutes. Oh my God. It was during training, thank goodness, because during the show I would have just been laying there like, but yeah, no, it was it was not pretty. And ever since then, Trent was the first one to tell me you have to breathe out when you're going down, dummy. And I was like, yeah, he's right. So ever since then, that hasn't been a problem. But I remember that was like one of my first few bumps because I was just overzealous. Like, get me up there and choke slam me, bro. Bad idea. But yeah, no, that was the worst bump I think I've ever taken.
It's funny. I've over the course of doing these, I have had a few deathmatch wrestlers on, and a couple of I've asked that question to a couple of them, and the thing that they invariably say that they hate the most is getting power bombed onto Legos.
Oh,
and
I don't even like stepping on them. I couldn't imagine getting power bombed on that.
I know. I mean, to me, that would actually almost be worse than tax.
My gosh, it's like getting hit in the ankle with a scooter multiple times. Like, no, no. I'm gonna need 2 hot dogs for this one.
and 3 or 4 handshakes.
3 or 4 handshakes with a hug included. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's hats off to them. They have some guts.
That's a different breed.
Oh yeah.
So, what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically indie wrestling?
Oh, I love it. That's like our number one way, other than just traveling and getting out there. Social media is how you connect with the fans. It's how you connect with some bookers who just happen to be scrolling and go, who's this guy? Why haven't I booked this guy yet? It's just an opportune way to get eyes on you. And I feel like without the eyes, especially in this day and age with social media, you're not going to go anywhere. You may be a local star. You may like take over a town, maybe. But even if you do make it out, it's going to take a whole lot more types of effort than somebody who's posting a clip every day or posting a clip once a week of them wrestling or what they're doing in the background just to get more eyes on them. Because I feel like fans nowadays resent more to social media than they do in real life. Like in real life is like a treat that you can get every now and then, but on social media you can always constantly keep up with what your favorite wrestler is doing, and we all have that little curiosity that keeps us afloat on social media. So I would definitely say social media plays an extremely important part to what we do, especially in the indie scene, to make a name for ourselves,
Absolutely. So, you're still a comparatively pretty young guy, but knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Hit the weights, bro. My biggest thing when I first started was like I wasn't hitting weights probably like I should, and I definitely wasn't eating correct. Like I just recently got on a meal plan that just consists of chicken and rice with some proteins and like different types of carb intakes here and there. But I was eating pizza every other day, just not eating what the ideal WWE or AEW superstar should be eating to make sure their physique is where it needs to be. And ever since I started doing that, I've been noticing my confidence has been going up. I've been getting more eyes on me. My booking count has been going up. So definitely, little young Chris, start eating right. Put the pizza down. Put down the hamburgers. Only eat hamburgers once a week when you deserve it. And hit the weight, skinny man.
Gotcha. So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Stretch. I tend to get cramps real easily. That's maybe because I have poor water intake. I try to hit a gallon every day. But even then, it seems as if like if I don't stretch as soon as I get out there and I go to do one big, like let's say I go to a springboard and then like those hammies really start to tighten up. But the last thing you want to do is get a cramped mid springboard because we all know that won't turn out pretty. So that's something that's definitely been preached to us by Houston Carson as well. No matter how young and how fresh you think you are, you always need to stretch to make sure nothing goes wrong and there's no future injuries afloat, you know? So I always
For
take some
sure.
time to stretch, especially with my partner. Sometimes we'll stretch each other out. Get some guys looking at us like, because some of these stretches are a little funny looking. But yeah, no, we always take time to make sure that we're both really stretched out and not tight.
Gotcha. So, just a quick rundown. What all do you carry in your gear bag, and do you carry anything unique or unusual?
Oh, I don't know about unique and unusual per se, but I mean, I carry like the bare essentials like gear, oil, water, tape, oil, more oil. I like to oil up before the match, make sure I look shiny. I think that would be a very unusual thing due to recent circumstances with certain trials. I don't want to bring a float.
yeah. Let's not go there.
But yeah, no, definitely oil. And we're always preached by Houston Carson to make sure we have an extra pair of clothes and make sure we don't stink after our matches. Because the last thing you want to do is be that guy, especially if you're getting booked multiple times in a weekend, to go to put your next match together and the people in the ring going, what the hell? So I always carry like toothpaste, toothbrush, extra pair of underwear, of course, extra pair of clothes, extra. I even take my training shoes with me just in case I want to roll around beforehand and like really get the feeling for the ring and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I feel like the only out of character thing that people may take a little like, what the heck is the oil? Because it's that Johnson and Johnson too, it's that good stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, don't skimp on that. Buy the name brand.
Oh yeah, we're not getting no Dollar General oil around here.
So, over the time that you've been wrestling, do you have a favorite venue? Is there a venue that's really special to you that you just really enjoy wrestling in, or do you have a favorite?
I don't think, because like I would say so at Lions Pride, our next event is going to be November 21st at a place called the Legends Event Center. And I think that's my favorite venue because it's pretty much, I used to work there. It's so funny. But it's 8 convertible courts that convert from basketball to volleyball whenever you please. In there, like, that's just 8 full-size basketball courts. So, I mean, it's a lot of room. It's AC. It has good lighting. And they have, like, dividing curtains that keep, like, the privacy for our shows and stuff like that. And we get changed in a place called a flex room, which can also be divided, but even divided, like one room is freaking huge. It feels like we're in a WWE changing room. It's beautiful. But yeah, no, that would definitely be my favorite place just due to like the aesthetic of it and how comfortable it is for the wrestlers, which is why I'm so thankful Houston Carson keeps getting us there. And then please keep getting us there because that's all of our favorite venue. And I think least favorite, it's something. It's like I notice it's a common thing between all VFWs. I respect the mess out of VFWs. I love them. But to wrestle in, don't get me started. It's like I'm not the tallest guy. But if I were to jump, I could definitely see what they have above those tiles in the ceiling.
Yeah.
They're always so short. And I'm like, well, that changes what this match is going to look like. I'll be doing a lot of rows and lucha today, brother. There's no springboards.
No doubt. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And my previous guest was a wrestler out of Minnesota by the name of El Payaso Enigmatico. And the question that he posed is, have you ever crapped yourself in the ring?
No. Okay, look. No, I have not. And I'm not saying but because I've came close. I've never come close to do that. But I've heard from a lot of like big, especially veterans and like even bigger guys who've made it further, that it sometimes happens. Like, you do a big dive to the outside, and if you were to land straight in your back, just it may happen, but Yeah, no, it never personally happened to me, thank goodness. I wouldn't be telling you, even if it did, you wouldn't know. But yeah, no, just that's crazy.
but yeah, he said it actually hasn't happened to him either. But he's been wrestling off and on for about 15 years. But he said he's had it happen to plenty of his cohorts. But he said he hasn't had the joy of that that experience. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to ask to the next guest?
Alrighty, this is going to be a little, I want to say advanced, but if you were to go up to a first day trainee, what would you think is more important per se? High flying ability or strictly mat work and footwork?
I like that. How would you answer that?
Mat work. High flying can always come in the near future, but I feel like without your mat work and your correct footwork, you're not going to go anywhere in wrestling because nobody's going to want to see a slop taker out in the middle of the ring pooping, no pun intended, pooping the pants and looking very unprofessional. At least I wouldn't want to see that. So I would definitely think professional footwork and mat work, like the basics, like a headlock and stuff like that. Like headlock takeovers need to be perfected before you even think about trying to do any top rope or springboards or over the top rope moves, in my personal opinion.
Got you. So this next question, I'm actually asking for the benefit of my wife, who is watching this as well, and that is, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air, and I mentioned that your significant other just had a birthday. So tell us the story of how you guys met. You said that she's also in the business. Tell us that story and just tell us about her. Put her over.
But yeah, put her over. But yeah, no, we both started wrestling. I started maybe a year before her, and she came along about a year after me and started training as well. And we weren't really like close and like talking every day when she first started, but of course I was like helping her out with things and like teaching her like, this is what you want to do, this and that and the other. And then fast forward a little bit, I noticed we started talking a lot more, and I'm like noticing, I feel like this is one of like my best friends, and it's like such a good feeling to have. And then I remember she invited me out to go to a wrestling show that had Joe Hendry on the as like the headliner, like the main event. Nice. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's go. You know what? Why would I say no to that? Let's go watch some Joe Hendry. And I think that night, thank you, Joe Hendry, solidified that I really like this girl. And this is more than just like a friendship. I really want to try to be with this girl because I feel like she ticks the boxes that I would like in a partner, which I'm not saying I'm controlling in that fashion. Not that type of check, but just like somebody who cares for you, who's there to support you, who's there to make you laugh, who you can talk to about things and stuff like that. And we're doing that way before we were dating. So I was like, I think I like this girl. So yeah, I asked her out, and the rest has been history. We're traveling together, we're training together, we're working out, eating well together. We're just lifting each other up to try to get that. Because I feel like having that partner, especially whether it's a boy, like your tag partner, or even whatever you prefer as your loving partner, having that, and me, I have two to help elevate me and keep me going. So I'm kind of like cheating the system, but just having one is enough to really get you ahead of the competition, because you have somebody to make sure as you start to slack, they can pick you back up and make sure that y'all stay level and or elevate in front of each other to motivate the other to also stay there or elevate in front of you in the most respectful way possible, So
absolutely. Well, I know my wife loves a good love story, so I had to find out about that for her.
Yeah, it's love until we step into the ring, partner. I slam.
Oh yeah, then yeah.
You signed the contract. I can do whatever I want between those 4 ropes or 3 ropes. But yeah, no, it's such we're so happy.
That's awesome. So we're getting toward the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yeah, so at Lions Pride, we have our big 8-year anniversary show coming up. Like I said, November 21st at the Legends Event Center in Bryan, Texas. Me and Trent are on that show, and we have a lot of returning people who are some big stars here in Texas to keep things real thrilling and real entertaining, like Vin Parker. We have Daniel Ryan. We have Mia Friday from Reality of Wrestling coming back. She started with us as well. So and it's been a while she's been with us. So this is a big homecoming, happy family, big moment happening with her. So yeah, no, definitely that's something you should tune into. We'll have some clips uploaded if you want to show up. Again, it's in Bryan, Texas at the Legends Event Center with Lions Pride Sports, and I'd love to see you there.
Absolutely. And as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, let me see here. On Sunday, the 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 159 with the creator and developer of the Slam Stars tabletop wrestling game. This is a guy out of Wales over in the United Kingdom. So we're doing it at an earlier time to kind of compensate for the time difference. The guy said he's kind of a night owl. So I mean, it'll be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, which will be 11 p.m. his time. But he said he's good with that, and I'm definitely intrigued to see how the game is played and just find out about how it was envisioned and developed. And then on Monday the 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, my guest is actually Atlanta-based wrestler Stephen Colozzi, who is the Caesar of WWA4 here in Atlanta. And, if you haven't heard of WWA4, man, they are an amazing school. They are really putting out some top-notch talent, and they are all training under AR Fox. And then on Wednesday, the 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 161 with the Night Devil, Tamaku, who is also a Texas guy.
Love that guy.
And, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, all of my socials are on my link tree in my bio. So if you want to scoot over to those and do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe, I would be much obliged. And Chris, this has been a blast. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Really had a great time with this. And until Sunday night at 6 p.m. with the creator of the Slam Stars tabletop wrestling game, be good to each other, love each other,